We have a question from MJ, and he asks, Corey, do you believe in marriage?
For me, I mean, you can
Yes.
get married, but just involving the state, there's so much downside risk to it, especially like, some of those states that tend to lean blue. The man just has no rights. It's, as soon as you get married, you literally sign an agreement where you're going to lose half of everything. It could have been something you accumulated your whole life, could have been inheritance money, could have been a business that you built. And some of those states, as soon as you're married, your wife automatically gets half of everything you have, even if you were married for a matter of weeks or months. So when I look at that, it's like, is that fair? I don't think that's fair. So for me, if I was ever to get married, it would be some kind of civil agreement where any real estate you buy together, retirement accounts, it's just like a business partnership. You have a partnership agreement. And like with us, my old business partners when I was in real estate, there were three of us. And so we each brought a certain amount of duties to the table. And the smart way to do that is, well, what if something happens to one of you? What if one of you dies? Or what if one of you doesn't want to be there anymore? Or what if two of you can't stand the third guy and you want to buy him out? It's like, what's that process look like? So you have to figure out all those things. It's kind of like a prenuptial, if you will. But the more you involve a state in weddings and marriages, it's so difficult to get out of. It's extremely expensive. And the only people that really benefit if a divorce happens is the divorce lawyers. And they're mostly fucking parasites anyways.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to milk the two of you and get as much of your net worth and your assets out of your bank account and into theirs. So it's in their financial interest to keep the conflict going. And that's typically what happens, especially when they get two rich people. And they're, I mean, look at Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. I mean, I think they split up 8, 10 years ago, and they're still fighting it out in
That's
court.
insane.
They're still splitting things up.
Yeah.
They're still, and like the kids where the custody was issued, they're adults now. So that doesn't even apply, and it's drug out that long. And when you look at how long did it take them to get married and get into that relationship, and then how long were they together versus how long has it taken them to get out of it?
Yeah.
I think they've been apart longer than they were actually together. So it's very easy and quick to get married and get into that involved in the state, but to get out of it, it's a fucking nightmare.
Mm.
So if you can get around involving the state, then have a partnership agreement between you guys. Something happens to you, what happens to your house? If you don't work out, how are you going to split up custody with the kids? And if you can't agree to that stuff up front, then you shouldn't get married. Definitely should not involve the state if you can avoid it.
Who created that divorcing had to be like a whole hassle? Like,
Kind of industry
Well, in the old days, the laws were, I mean, the man pretty much had all the leverage. And then, women would like get thrown out in the street. And then you had feminism come along, and now everything's shifted back the other way to where like women have all the leverage and power.
Yeah, the pendulum kind of swung back
Yeah.
that way for sure.
So I personally would not want to get involved with the state. But you can have a partnership agreement that accomplishes the same thing. You can wear wedding rings. You can get married in your church or whatever, and have a
Also,
ceremony.
weddings have gotten very expensive. Everything about marriage is very expensive. Getting into it is very expensive. Leaving it's more expensive.
Yeah, one of my friends, he's got that your dad knows too. We all went to high school together. His oldest just got married a couple months ago. 250 G's for the wedding.
That's insane.
250 grand. Our wedding was like 75 grand, and that was in the mid 90s.
So
I mean, it was expensive.
It's probably like 150, 200,000. That's probably a 200. Your wedding is probably 200,000
well,
now.
I mean, everything was expensive. The flowers, the venue. Like we did it at Lago Mar. It was like St. James Cathedral in Fort Lauderdale. It's like just everything. Everything is super expensive. The flowers, what you're gonna eat, the band, the cellist, the people at the church that are playing the violins and the cellist and everything. It was like, it's expensive.
what if you get just married out of country? Is it cheaper that way?
Yeah, it's still cheaper. It's still expensive though.
Oh.
Well, I don't know how that works. If you go get married, like you go get married in Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
Is he Colombian too?
Yeah.
So you guys thinking about maybe going to Colombia to get
I
married?
think you have like the ceremony and stuff.
Because you're an American citizen. You were born here, right?
Yeah. No, I would like to get married in like Bali or Bora Bora.
She wants a big, expensive wedding. Well, you'd better tell your.
It's cheap over
It
there.
is
better
cheap.
tell your
She is
boy to
right,
start
though. It
making
is-
some
it is
cash.
cheap over there, actually.
It's just the flight that's a lot.
Yeah. A destination wedding. And then you can invite everybody, but
Yeah,
then
nobody's gonna
everyone
come.
goes-
They can't afford to fly.
Yeah, I don't want a big wedding. I
Yeah,
just
so it
want,
actually
like,
works out well. You can still invite everybody, but yeah.
It'd probably be like 5 people.
Caroline's
6.
got that champagne taste on a beer budget.
I could do it.
Sell some feet pics, maybe.
Usually the husband's family or the parents are supposed to pay for the
Usually it's
wedding.
actually the wife's
No,
family.
it's always the bride's parents typically pay for the wedding.
Not in Colombian culture.
Oh.
Huh.
It's always
Well, you're good. That's good for you then.
yeah, that's good for us. It's always the male, yeah.
Oh, well, no wonder you're not concerned about the cost.
Yeah.